Hey everybody, and welcome back to Whiskey Trek. I'm Jackson.
And I'm Natalie.
And today we're going to talk about a bottle that was given to us to review by a close friend. This is Wyoming Whiskey, specifically a private single barrel store pick from our local spot Liquor King in Allen. I don't know if you've heard much of Wyoming Whiskey. Have you heard much of Wyoming Whiskey, Natalie?
No, I am just so happy to have another state to this massive collection. I mean, like, this is our first Wyoming, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Indeed is. A little bit of info about Wyoming Whiskey. They obviously are a craft distillery from Kirby, Wyoming. The mash bill is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. So this is a wheated bourbon for all of you wheated bourbon lovers out there. I will say, being craft, it is a little bit more crafty. Not your typical flavor profile from a bourbon, from especially Kentucky bourbons or MGP perhaps. I think their ages on private barrels range from 5 to 7. This is probably on the higher end of that because it doesn't taste quite as farmy, is a good word to say, as other Wyoming products that I've had. Some Wyoming whiskeys that I've tried before have come off really like hay forward or grassy and the typical youthful weeder notes.
Gotcha.
So let me know what you think of this one, babe. Let's have a nose.
All right. Before we really get into this, did your friend explain what made him pick this bottle?
Yeah, he went to the store and asked for a product around 7 years old and higher proof. And that was it. That's all he said.
Okay.
So he didn't even try it at the store before he bought it. So risky move.
Risky.
It's definitely funky, but it's not necessarily grassy. It's more on the hay side, but it's more than that. So if you're afraid of it being farmy, like I was talking about before with other weird weeders, I wouldn't be so concerned about that. It's definitely a little bit of off profile, but it's nice and sweet and spice forward. There is this great pepper note up front.
Yeah,
on the nose.
When you say grass, that is what I got before hay, and it smells good. Sweet.
There's like a Jolly Rancher note on the nose that I like a lot.
Like an apple.
Yeah, like a green apple, like artificial green apple. A lot of that farm stuff kind of goes away on the palate, which means that it's really interesting to smell, but not offensive to taste.
Yeah.
Very sweet, a peppery finish, green apple, Jolly Rancher on the finish a little bit, but overall, it's much more classic bourbon on the palate than on the nose.
Yeah, for me, it was like this flavor all of a sudden. It was amazing growing and it just gone. But while I was getting all that flavor, it was delicious. I really like this.
I don't think that the finish is short. Shorter than you would expect for the proof. It's 124 proof, this specific bottle is. And the spice lingers, but I wouldn't say that the other flavors stick around as long. So I would say it's a medium short finish.
Well, I think this is a fabulous birthday present. It's hard to go bourbon shopping for a bourbon lover. So props to your friend.
No, he did good, especially since it was a blind. Like, he didn't know what he was getting himself into. And actually, he tried some as well, and he liked it so much he's going to buy his own bottle. So
well, that's a
maybe
good
think of it that way.
Right
And he rarely buys his own bottles.
That's so
So
true.
that's saying something. If you're not quite sure what to compare it to, it's a little difficult to explain in a video, I guess. Let's put it in perspective of other weeders, right? I've got some other higher-ish proof, single barrel or barrel proof weeders here that might stand up to that. So let's start off with the two that are the same mash bill as this, 68, 20, 12. Rebel cask strength. Some of you guys might have had some of these Rebel picks before. This is a similar mash bill. It doesn't really smell the same at all. It doesn't have that farminess, but it does have that sweet weeder note that you might be looking for. Another common one for that mash bill is Larceny Barrel Proof, which is also the same mash bill, But again, much more Kentucky style rather than craft forward. Where you kind of get more into the craft side of things would be with something like a Wilderness Trail weeded single barrel, which can get kind of those more out there weeder notes if you're really kind of trying to expand your weeder profile. Another one is Starlight, which is an MGP. Starlight is 51 corn, 20 rye, 9 wheat, and 20 barley. And then the Wilderness Trail is 64 corn, 24 wheat, and 12 barley.
Well, there you
So
go.
if you're looking for something on the grassy side, like we were getting on the nose on this, Maker's Cask Strength, especially the 46. But any Maker's pick, honestly. Maker's Cask Strength, Maker's single barrel picks, any of like their stave profile finishes. You can get some really crazy stuff from Makers for weeders. So, I mean, this is a great spot if you're already a weeder fan, or maybe you're looking to branch out into some more different things and craft whiskeys. But there's no shortage of weeders for you guys who love that. So if I had to say, closest comparison for this lineup to the Wyoming is going to be the Makers is going to be the closest, along with the Wilderness Trails can definitely get there. So I would say those three are definitely going to be most similar. And then these, the Rebel, Larceny, and Starlight are going to be your most bourbon, like Kentucky bourbon-like. So craft-ish, this-ish, it depends. It can get real grassy. And then more like regular bourbon. So
All right. Well, there's probably not a chance that we would see this in a bar. But comment
Actually,
if you've seen this in a bar.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Yes, the place I tried this before was at a bar, obviously. It was at my favorite steak restaurant, Local Yokel.
They
And-
had this?
Yes, and it was a barrel select also, and I hated it. So, top tip, try before you buy. Because you never know. It could be really weird. Or it could be really great like this one. You just never know. So, try before you buy. But don't judge one single barrel and then judge the entire line like I might have done. I don't think I ever would have bought this if it had not been bought for me because of my previous experience with another single barrel. So don't limit yourself.
Well, cheers and happy late birthday to you.
Cheers. See you next time. Oh, before we go, make sure that you come check out Whiskey Trek next Tuesday. We've got a surprise.